You're the kind of person who makes a difference at work. So why not work on something that makes a difference? At Zoox, we're looking for collaborative, inquisitive people who can help us achieve our mission. Safer, cleaner, more enjoyable mobility for everyone. Come build the future at Zoox. Find out more at zoox.com/careers.
It's Black Friday now at JCPenney. Hurry and shop thousands of the merriest Black Friday deals while they last. Make spirits bright with up to 75% off fine jewelry. Get innovative with sharper image gifts now up to 50% off. Plus, take home kitchen appliances for $7.99 each after $10 mail-in rebate. Score these deals and more all week long before they're gone. Happy Black Friday, JCPenney. Offers valid on select items 11/22 through 11/28. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
One day after being released from a prison in Colorado, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is slamming prosecutors who brought the case against him.
From beginning to end, this was persecution, masquerading as prosecution.
Blagojevich, speaking outside his Chicago home, also says that the criminal justice system is broken.
I hope now, looking to the future, that I can draw from my life experience and do something to try to fight to help people who've been wrongfully incarcerated or those who have been over-sentenced.
Today is the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, and Vice President Mike Pence marked the occasion by going to the Marine Corps War Memorial and laying a wreath. And only 2 days after suffering what looked to be a very serious crash at the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman has been treated and released from a Florida hospital. You're listening to USA Radio News.
At the American Veterinary Medical Association annual convention in Washington, D.C., I spoke with Dr. John Howe, AVMA president, about One Health.
One Health is really a collaboration between physicians and veterinarians or public health officials. For example, in Minnesota, our state public health veterinarian deals with zoonotic diseases, rabies, for example. Animals are sentinels for humans, and humans are sentinels for some infections in animals.
There's more valuable information at avma.org.
Friends and family, did you have a great night's sleep last night? I did. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I work better than I ever have. And you know what? You can have that health. You can have that good night's sleep if you order a MyPillow. Try it. Mike Lindell guarantees it. He's got a 60-day money-back guarantee on the MyPillow and a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special, use my promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175.
A now former candidate for the 2020 Democratic White House nomination has landed a media gig. Here's USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes.
Businessman and former candidate Andrew Yang is joining CNN as a political commentator. The 45-year-old recently dropping out of the race after poor showings in the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. He qualified for most of the Democratic debates and calls his followers the Yang Gang. He also proposed a universal basic income package that would have given every American $1,000 a month. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
The IRS is planning to do more face-to-face visits with high-earning taxpayers who haven't filed a return. The agency announced on Wednesday it will look at about 800 cases in its initial phase of people who make more than $100,000. The announcement came after the agency added more people to its enforcement staff. This is USA Radio News.
With a recession ending, if you've been putting off building your business, now is the time to act. General Steel will meet or beat any price on a pre-engineered steel building of the same size and specifications. Act now before steel prices go up. So call us today for free information.
Call 800-965-1290. 800-965-1290, 800-965-1290.
Illegal immigrants in Cambridge, Massachusetts won't be arrested for driving without a license thanks to a new law. Under the law passed by the city, police officers are advised not to arrest illegal immigrants found driving without a license. Instead, they're told to issue the driver's summons. Cambridge, which is home to Harvard and MIT, became a sanctuary city back in 1985. In entertainment news, a tribute to the rock band Rush is making its way across the country. With the details, here's USA Radio Network's Wendy King.
Primus will be honoring Canadian rock band Rush with a special cover tour in 2020. The group shared plans Tuesday for A Tribute to Kings, a new North American tour that will feature Primus performing Rush's 1977 album, A Farewell to Kings. The band will also perform its own music. Primus vocalist bassist Les Claypool said, A Farewell to Kings was the first Rush record he ever heard and features his favorite Rush song, Cygnus X1. Primus and Rush have crossed paths several times over the years, including when Primus opened for them on a tour in 1992. The Tribute to Kings tour begins May 26th in Irving, Texas, and ends August 2nd in Phoenix, Arizona.
Take us with you wherever you go by downloading the iHeartRadio app and searching for USA Radio News. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
Thank you for tuning into Chosen Generation. Chosen Generation is about equipping, encouraging, and challenging this generation to engage culture and to fulfill God's plan and purpose for our city, county, state, and nation to be the Christian influence and light that we have been called to be. Pastor Greg is committed to seeing God's life-changing power work in you. If you need prayer today or have a question, you can reach us at 830-446-3624. 830-446-3624. If your church or group would like to have Pastor Greg come and share his passion to raise up a chosen generation, he is available to bring that same life-changing message and anointing to your event. Again, that number is 830-446-3624. 830-446-3624. Give us a call and keep on listening because you are God's chosen generation. Welcome to Chosen Generation with your host, Pastor Greg Young. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should shew forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
And now, Chosen Generation, where no topic is off limits and everything is filtered through biblical glasses. And now, here's your host, Pastor Greg.
And welcome to the program. Great to have you with me. Thanks so much for tuning in. I do know that you have a choice on where you can listen each and every day, and I thank you for keeping it tuned here to Chosen Generation Radio. Well, folks, got a great program lined up for you today. Bottom of hour number 2, Jason Van Camp is back with us. We're going to talk to Jason about his new book. He is a decorated Green Beret who attended and played football at West Point before earning his U.S. Army Ranger tab and Special Forces tab. He's the co-author of Deliberate Discomfort, How U.S. Special Operations Forces Overcome Fear and Dare to Win. So we'll have that coming up for you. David Shestokas is with us, our constitutional attorney. We'll be talking with him about the sentencing guidelines, the Roger Stone sentencing, and what is the deal with McCabe gets off, but these other members of people are being tried for the very same thing. That it seems like a double standard. So we'll get David's legal view on that coming up today for you. Emery McClendon is with us. Excuse me, Project 21 Black Leadership Network. And we'll be talking with him about defending the president and his thoughts on some of the things the president does and just right on down the line. So we'll have all that coming up for you, and should have here shortly. Okay, we got Matt is with us from Newsbusters and Media Research Center. Matt Feldman. Matt, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to have you today.
And good to talk to you.
Thank you. Well, let's see. So lots of different and interesting topics that we can have a conversation about. Of course, the media is kind of going crazy about his decision to pardon a few people.
Yeah.
They not liking that, and then I think we should also talk about Bloomberg. Dan wrote a great piece on that about how the media is kind of having a love affair with him, and then others are not so much. But Bernie, they're throwing him under the bus again. So I don't know. Where do you want to start, Matt?
Well, anywhere you want. Bernie and Bloomberg are an interesting topic right now because you're right. Bloomberg is the media candidate of the moment, or he was until this fabulous trove of opposition research started coming out. And I want to open a Bloomberg Oppo R Us franchise because you got to make so much money right now in Bloomberg Oppo research. All these stupid things he's come out and said over the years are now coming back to him. And this was done, I don't know who dug this up, but it is utterly damning for anyone that wants to be a Democratic nominee. It's one thing to say that farmers are stupid and they're not as smart as tech workers, but then to come out, he commits heresy talking about the trans movement. He just, and his heresy as regards to stop and frisk and who's committing the crimes in the cities. This is all, it's essentially, he committed political suicide without knowing he did. And it's kind of funny to watch.
Well, and I got to jump in because I live and have actually, when I was in California, in the Modesto area, lived out amongst, that was ag central, between Galt and around the Stockton area and that Central Valley. I mean, that was just lush and filled with farmers and ag specialists, and now down here in Bandera and the Hill Country, and my gosh, these are some of the smartest people. They're scary smart, man.
Sure.
I mean, they, you start, going off on intel, and I love how the Democrat Party, because how was it just a couple of weeks ago, right? They were ragging on everybody in the South, which they always do. Anybody in the South that has a Southern accent, the Northern blue Democrats are real good at assaulting, insulting those people. It's really something.
And it's funny because when that tape of Bloomberg saying that farm workers just aren't as intelligent came out, the first thing I thought of, so that's why he skipped Iowa. Because it's the kind of thing you can only say when you're not depending on farm workers to vote you into office. It's just disgusting. And you're right. They'll go after they mischaracterize or smear, laugh at people in the South and people anywhere west of the Mississippi and east of California. There's a giant swath of the country they think is beneath them. And it's a very difficult way to run a national political campaign. It's a very difficult way to convince people that you've got their best interests at heart. Right. And and there is no Democrat in the race. I mean, the possible exception being Pete Buttigieg. Whatever. Really,
yeah.
I've said it 100 times and I still can't get it right. Who understands people in Middle America at all?
Right. And let's not pretend that Pete Buttigieg actually represents the values of Middle America.
No, but he at least lived there for a time. That's, as opposed to Bloomberg and Bernie and
Sanders,
Pocahontas.
Right, sure. Sure. No, absolutely.
But it's just they have a very difficult time hiding their disdain. And the more of this Bloomberg stuff that comes out, the more it's going to be. And I believe there's probably more because he's been around a long time. He's had opinions on a lot of things, and he's a guy that sort of has run the middle his whole career. When the Democratic Party has shifted so far to the left that cancel culture has taken over, he's not going to come out looking good in the things he said as a moderate Democrat or moderate Republican, because he's going to have said things that are moderate, and you're just not allowed to say those anymore on the left.
Well, I think the other piece that I think is going to be interesting to watch is, his what appears to be basically buying the nomination. I mean, he bought his way onto the stage tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Matt, would you agree that that's an accurate assessment?
Absolutely.
He bought his way onto the stage tonight. He's said, as you mentioned, I mean, and it's really kind of interesting that he did that in light of the fact that he also, by his actions and some of his statements, has said Nevada doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I'm not even interested in what Nevada has to say. Nevada doesn't count. Iowa doesn't count. South Carolina doesn't count. When you start saying that states don't matter and people in those states don't matter, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, the other 46 states need to be seriously looking at that and thinking about that.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Remember when Giuliani was running for the nomination in 2008? He decided on this late state campaign, skipped all the early stuff and never got any traction. Now, he didn't have the kind of money that Bloomberg has, and Bloomberg is spending it, and he's spending it on, I think, some pretty well-done ads. And they're being spent, it's being spent during golf tournaments, during sporting events. He's certainly, I think he's getting a bang for his advertising buck. But that's buying the race. Now, at the same time, you couldn't buy the race if there wasn't a market for you.
Right.
There's a lot of Democrats who are just desperate because they look at their field and go, what a bunch of lunatics. Bloomberg comes across as a fairly normal centrist type until his old tapes start coming out, and then you're like, wow, this is interesting. And he still sounds like a fairly normal centrist type. He's a New York he's a New York liberal.
But Matt, when he says kill it, I'm not feeling centrist there. and folks, what I'm referring to is that he had one of his employees he was having dialogue with, and she mentioned that she was pregnant, and he told her to kill it. And then went on to, disparage the fact that he had, at that point, or at that time, I guess, 16 women that were working for him. And we're talking in a very, in a large company, and I give him kudos for that he built his organization. But at any rate, the bottom line here is that, he disparaged all 16 women that were having babies, but he specifically told this one to kill hers.
I had forgotten about that. You're right. And I was
of course,
speaking...
that does endear him to the radical left and the party of infanticide. So
that makes him a lock in California and New York, which he may think is all he needs.
and they're coming after Texas. They're definitely coming after Texas.
Well, God help you.
We're fighting hard, man. We're fighting hard. Some of us even within our own party. But anyway, that's a subject for another day, I reckon. Stay tuned. More media madness to talk about here. What about the president's reaction and what we're hearing out of the Department of Justice? We'll get a media perspective from Matt Philbin coming up here. You're listening to Chosen Generation Radio. I'm your host, Pastor Greg. Lots more coming up today on the whole program. Don't go anywhere. And remember, get more at the website, chosengenerationradio.com, chosengenerationradio.com. Back with more right after these brief break. Holy Toledo. We will have more coming up right after this. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. In July of 2017, I was in a catastrophic car accident, and I broke my neck, the base of my skull, my back, my ribs, and both legs. As you might imagine, getting a good night's sleep has been a real challenge. Well, then at CPAC in 2019, I met Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Mike wanted to help me to get a good night's rest and introduced me to his pillows, his mattress topper, and his Giza cotton sheets. I can tell you they really work. And Mike has authorized me to offer you a special discount on MyPillow products. Call 800-662-9236. That's 800-662-9236. One more time, 800-662-9236. Use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. Or you can use it at the MyPillow website.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
This is Adam Mundahl with State Air, and we are sponsors of Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Sponsoring this program has been a real blessing to our business, and I want to encourage you to join me in sponsoring Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Call him today at 830-446-3624. Once again, that's 830-446-3624. I know your business will be blessed as ours is, and I challenge you to this blessing. Thank you.
The healthcare open enrollment period has ended. Did you miss it? Don't worry, you can still get a healthcare program by signing up at Liberty HealthShare. As a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, we are not insurance, so you can still sign up. You can pick your program, choose your own doctors and hospitals. We have programs for singles, couples, and families, all with no contract, starting at only $199 per month. Go to libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values, and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical Christian American constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930. And use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. And get your first year on me. When thinking about life insurance, my accident reinforced you never know what tomorrow might bring. That's why I reached out to AccuQuote. AccuQuote helps people find a life insurance policy that meets their needs. Since 1986, they've helped millions of folks save up to 60% on their life insurance by comparing the rates and features of dozens of top-rated life insurance products. A healthy 50-year-old non-smoker can buy $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $45 a month. A 60-year-old under $120 a month. Longer or permanent terms are available. Even if you already own life insurance, you really need to check out my friends at AccuQuote. Don't worry about health issues. Remember, they help me. As a pastor, I'm concerned about your soul and helping you to make sure your family is taken care of. Life insurance is more affordable now than ever, so don't make them wish you'd made that call. 877-437-4781. Call now, 877-437-4781. 877-437-4781.
Rates, policy, forms, and available.
Did you know you can do your tithing and love offering right from your computer? Visit www.pastorgregyoung.org to support Chosen Generation and make a tax-deductible donation. Now, back to Chosen Generation with Pastor Greg.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio. Don't forget, bottom of the hour. We're shifting things around a little bit today. David Shestokas will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about sentencing guidelines from a prosecutorial perspective. As you know, David has been a prosecutor in Illinois, and so we'll talk about that. We'll also be speaking with him, of course, from a constitutional perspective relative to those sentencing guidelines and so forth. And why does there seem to be, truly, seriously, folks, let's think about it, a little bit of a double standard there, and what do we anticipate coming up with Attorney General William Barr? So we'll cover all that with David coming up bottom of the hour. Joining me right now, though, is Matt Philbin, and, of course, Matt is, he is a very important person. He is the managing editor of MRC Culture. That's Media Research Center, and you can get to them through the name Dan Gaynor on the front page at chosengenerationradio.com, chosengenerationradio.com. Under CG contributors, click it down. We got a whole lot of folks there. Encourage you to check out their pages, check out their commentaries and so forth. And we also encourage you to support our sponsors off the front page while you're there. And you can listen to past programs. It's just a great place to hang out. And we got a chat room as well. Okay, Matt, the Department of Justice, once again, media exploding. Oh, this is it. William Barr. Now we got him. Now he's gonna resign because he's just sick and tired of the president. And wow.
I'd love to know which is William Barr an evil genius out to subvert the rule of law, or is he a victim of Trump? They can't seem to make up their minds on this. It depends who you read on which day. But this is funny. This stuff at Justice it's all very confusing, and you said you're going to have an expert on to explain it. I, for one, wish I could tune into that because I'd love to have it explained to me. Justice seems to be a mess right now. Obviously, there were holdovers from the Obama administration that actively fought against Trump and his policies for a long time. Barr seems to be doing his best to sort things out and get through it while doing his job. And I have to say, if I were in his position, I would cringe every time that the president released a tweet. But that said, how much of this is for public consumption, how much is for real, we don't know. But we know that the media laps it up. They love anything that could possibly go wrong in this administration. Any hint of discord or disagreement, they're going to report, and they're going to be panting while they do it.
Well, let me just jump in and have one thing, and then I want to, because we're going to get tight too, but I want you to finish your thought. But, it's the only way that he has of getting his message out to the general public, honestly.
And it's been working for him.
Yeah. I mean, it is, folks, everybody complains about the president and his tweets, or a certain grouping of people do, and as you move closer to center, I guess they do. But I look at it and I say, okay, well, who's actually covering what the president is actually talking about? Certainly, we used to depend on Fox. Can't depend on them anymore. Can't depend, not necessarily. OANN is pretty good. Can't really depend on mainstream media. And so there you go. All right, my guest has been Matt Philbin, Director of Media I'm at MRC, and we'll be back with more Chosen Generation Radio after this, joined by David. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values, and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical Christian American constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930. And use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. And get your first year on me.
You're the kind of person who makes a difference at work. So why not work on something that makes a difference? At Zoox, we're looking for collaborative, inquisitive people who can help us achieve our mission. Safer, cleaner, more enjoyable mobility for everyone. Come build the future at Zoox. Find out more at ZOOX.com/careers.
Don't miss NCIA's 7th Annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, the industry's most influential national trade show. Join them December 15th through the 17th, 2021 at Moscone Center in San Francisco for the only cannabis industry event with over 125 top presenters, 80-plus business building education sessions, and hundreds of exhibitors, all under one roof. Discover next year's best-selling cannabis brands and learn from the best in the business at #CannaBizSummit this December 15th through 17th in San Francisco. Plus, see, touch, and smell products from dozens of brands specializing in flower, pre-roll, vapor, oil, edibles, and more within the new Bloom, a brand's experience on the expo floor. Tickets at CannabisBusinessSummit.com. That's CannabisBusinessSummit.com. Must be 21 plus to attend.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
One day after being released from a prison in Colorado, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is slamming prosecutors who brought the case against him.
From beginning to end, this was persecution masquerading as prosecution.
Blagojevich, speaking outside his Chicago home, also says that the criminal justice system is broken.
I hope now, looking to the future, that I can draw from my life experience and do something to try to fight to help people who've been wrongfully incarcerated or those who have been over-sentenced.
Today is the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, and Vice President Mike Pence marked the occasion by going to the Marine Corps War Memorial and laying a wreath. And only 2 days after suffering what looked to be a very serious crash at the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman has been treated and released from a Florida hospital. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 immediately. That's 800-605-6995. Page Publishing is looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review each and every book submitted to them and give you their feedback. If they like what they read, they'll get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. They handle everything: editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So if you've written a novel, children's book, cookbook, inspirational work, poetry, or a biography and want to get it published, then you need to call Page Publishing and do it immediately. Call 800-605-6995 now for your free author submission kit. Again, for your free author submission kit, call 800-605-6995. That's 800-605-6995. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call. Call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 for your free author submission kit.
When thinking about life insurance, my accident reinforced you never know what tomorrow might bring. That's why I reached out to AccuQuote. AccuQuote helps people find a life insurance policy that meets their needs. Since 1986, they've helped millions of folks save up to 60% on their life insurance by comparing the rates and features of dozens of top-rated life insurance products. A healthy 50-year-old non-smoker can buy $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $45 a month. A 60-year-old under $120 a month. Longer or permanent terms are available. Even if you already own life insurance, you really need to check out my friends at AccuQuote. Don't worry about health issues. Remember, they help me. As a pastor, I'm concerned about your soul and helping you to make sure your family is taken care of. Life insurance is more affordable now than ever, so don't make them wish you'd made that call. 877-437-4781. Call now, 877-437-4781. 877-437-4781.
Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
In today's day and age, it's refreshing to find a company with values that match yours. And it's even more extraordinary when the products they make exceed your expectation in every way. That's what Michael's Naturopathic Programs has done for over 30 years. With more than 50 tried and truthful high-potency formulas, Michael's Naturopathic Programs give your body what it needs. No more guessing what herbs or vitamin, amino acid, or mineral you need. With Michael's, it's all in one bottle. From cardiovascular support to weight management to nervous system support to detox and cleansing and more. Michael's Naturopathic Programs work. They have to. Michael himself has been giving them to his family from the very start. Visit michaelshealth.com and get your tried and truthful formulation today. That's MICHAELS health.com. MICHAELS health.com.
Get a special discount when you input the code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg for your special discount.
Did you know you can do your tithing and love offering right from your computer? Visit www.pastorgregyoung.org to support Chosen Generation and make a tax-deductible donation. Now, back to Chosen Generation with Pastor Greg.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, and I feel terrible about this, I almost always start the program by saying how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this show. And so please accept my sincere apology for not beginning the program by recognizing that. I know we all have, busy days, busy schedules, lots that we can be engaged in. And whether you're listening to me live right now on the radio across USA Radio Network, or whether you will be listening to us this afternoon in our rebroadcast, or whether you'll be listening on the podcast. However you are listening to the program, I just want you to know that I am sincerely grateful that you consider the things that I share and the things that my guests and I share important enough for you to take the time out of your day to listen to. So thank you. And I work diligently to try to give you a program that gives you, a different perspective, whether it's on the news of the day or not. The goal here is to give you something that you're not necessarily going to find on another program. So that's the goal. All right. Well, hey, and to that end, it is always my pleasure to welcome my next guest to the program. He is a constitutional attorney. He is the author of Constitutional Soundbites and a brand new book on the Declaration of Independence. You can find his name at the front page at chosengenerationradio.com. David Shestokas. David, welcome. Good to have you.
It's great to be with you, Greg. I'm so happy to be here. Of course, you were mentioning kind of work that you do. You've give some highlights to your audience about that, but I think they should know that really for every guest that you have, you do some prep work with that guest in advance of the show. We spoke last night on kind of what we would be talking about today, and then this morning we had some interchanges as to what kind of things would be interesting and valuable to your audience. The prep that you do, and I know that you do that prep just for our segment, and I know you have multiple segments through the day for every guest. And I hope that people do appreciate the kind of work that you do to bring important, unusual, unique kind of topics and perspectives that they're not going to get elsewhere. So it was nice to hear that introduction, but I don't know that. Yeah, obviously it's very difficult to give yourself a whole bunch of credit, so I'm going to try and give you some credit for the hard work that you do.
Well, thank you, David. I greatly appreciate that, and I want to get to that important topic for you and I, and that has to do with, as a former prosecutor, and specifically, of course, there in Illinois, but as someone who has sat in that chair and made sentencing recommendations and so forth, there was a lot said when it came to, you have Roger Stone, but you have others. I mean, you have the Rick Gates case, you have the Paul Manafort case, you have what happened to Michael Caputo. There are, to my estimation, probably at least 50 families whose lives have been radically turned upside down by prosecutions and investigations that were conducted by Mueller. And I know that's a little bit outside of our scope, but still, from a prosecutorial standpoint, when you look at that investigation and then you look at the recommendations that they made and the things that they did, Cohen, all of it, can you kind of give me an oversight and then kind of drill down from there?
Yeah, certainly, and this is really a problem. Right? Let's talk about sentencing recommendations in the first place and guidelines. There's different things in different jurisdictions in terms of what kind of authority or leeway that judges have. I'm licensed in Illinois and Florida and in the federal courts. In Illinois, strangely enough, if it says 1 to 3 years on a particular crime, then the judge has the discretion to go anywhere from 1 to 3 years, and he can take into consideration a variety of subjects. But there's not a set sort of statutory or Supreme Court rules that to guide the judge on that. Just generally the history and the judge's own training and understanding. In Florida, strangely enough, there's actually a point system that gives people points for the particular crime, for their background, their history, the other kinds of things they've done, the employability, other kinds of situations, and then the judge's discretion is narrowed down based on the number of points that somebody's given when it comes to sentencing. Federal government these days is more akin to Illinois in terms of the fact that there used to be, now they call them sentencing guidelines, they used to be sentencing restrictions that was more like Florida and less like Illinois, but now they have lifted that and given the judge great latitude and discretion. So Judge Berman, Amy Berman Jackson, that is in charge of the Roger Stone decision, actually has a latitude these days, at this moment, of anywhere from between 0 to 50 years. And her discretion is essentially unfettered on that, based on the crimes that he had, whether or not she puts them together and sentences them consecutively, or whether they get served concurrently. And so Judge Berman has discretion, and so guidelines in the federal courts these days are just guidelines. There was a lot of complaints that judges were handicapped in terms of not being able to err on the lighter side of sentencing and had to impose very, very strict sentences that brought them up to large sentences. And
right.
So the defense and the prosecution always make recommendations. However, one of the things that more often than not that the judges will look at is the probation report from the probation department. Probation department is kind of more neutral factor in these kinds of recommendations, because the prosecution obviously has a vested interest, the defense obviously has a vested interest. The probation department is able to put a case in the perspective of all the other kinds of cases that are similar, rather than trying to argue for something that's very, very stiff or very, very lenient. And so you wind up with a situation where, in the end, Judge Berman's going to walk in the courtroom and she's going to go on kind of a roller coaster ride. And if she's going to give him kind of a light sentence, she's going to start out with how bad things were, and then she's going to go, well, however, these are the good things about him, and because of that, we're going to err on the side of lightness.
Now, let me stop you for just a second there, because we briefly talked about this last night, but I think it's a worthy conversation to have, and that is, the president tweeted out in a manner that might antagonize this judge, who obviously oversaw the Gates thing, oversaw the Manafort thing. I mean, she's an Obama appointee who by all accounts does not seem to care much for the president, doesn't seem to like him. How much damage could that cause? And then obviously he can do what he did yesterday, right? Which is offer pardons to these individuals ultimately, and maybe this is all setting the stage for that. We visited briefly about that yesterday evening, but I don't know your thoughts on all that.
Well, regarding the president, that I would suspect that he would be wise to listen to Attorney General Barr and stay out of active court cases and investigations, because it's not that the president doesn't have the right or the ability, both as a private citizen in the First Amendment situation, and both as commander-in-chief, or, as he put it, and I agree with him, the chief law enforcement officer, because ultimately he can direct the attorney general. However, it is probably unwise, because why? Because judges are people too. As right. much as judges are people, and they can take certain things in the wrong way and decide to do something. However, Judge Berman would likely not take these kinds of things into account, what the president's doing. It's probably very, very irritating to her. However, she also knows that she's subject to review by both the appellate court and ultimately the Supreme Court. And so
could you be the one who writes the code that makes a vehicle move by itself? Who designs a feature that makes vehicles safer? Who organizes teams so that they can do their best work? Who creates a culture that people can thrive in? Who makes transportation smarter, cleaner, and safer? Go to ZOOX.com/careers and see if you could.
Don't miss NCIA's 7th Annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, the industry's most influential national trade show. Join them December 15th through the 17th, 2021 at Moscone Center in San Francisco for the only cannabis industry event with over 125 top presenters, 80-plus business building education sessions, and hundreds of exhibitors, all under one roof. Discover next year's best-selling cannabis brands and learn from the best in the business at #CannaBizSummit this December 15th through 17th in San Francisco. Plus, see, touch, and smell products from dozens of brands specializing in flower, pre-roll, vapor, oil, edibles, and more within the new Bloom, a brand's experience on the expo floor. Tickets at CannabisBusinessSummit.com. That's CannabisBusinessSummit.com. Must be 21 plus to attend.
There's constrictions on how much those things affect her, and the fact is in the wisdom of the founding fathers, judges are appointed for life so that they are not in a position to be affected. It's not like the president can dismiss her if she doesn't do what it sounds like he'd like her to do. It's not, right. It's not like right. She doesn't get her salary reduced. Those are all the kind of things that the founding fathers looked at when they created this situation where judges would not ever have their salaries reduced, and where they would serve for life as long as they had good behavior. And so, because, of course, that's the kind of thing the king used to do. He'd interfere in these things, and if the judges didn't do what he liked, they either cut their pay or he kicked them out, And so, in the
or he hung them.
Yeah. There you go. And so in their wisdom, they came up with this unique system that had never happened before in the history of the world, where there was an independent judiciary. So it's probably unwise for the president to do so, but I would suspect that in the great scheme of things, it's more a political problem for the Attorney General than it is having an effect on what Judge Berman determines that she's going to do. And from what I understand, one other thing on Judge Berman, from what I understand, she has agreed to hear motions and arguments for a new trial based on the alleged bias of the foreman of the of the Stone jury, excuse me.
Okay.
And so, she's shown an inclination to perhaps hear the arguments in favor of a new trial. So while we're expecting sentencing sometime this week, she may put that off.
And there are there's some compelling evidence out there. I've been on a couple of programs, and I've hosted Daphne Barak here, who wrote the book To Plea or Not to Plea, the Rick Gates and Mueller investigation story, wherein she hints around pages 221 through 223 and pages 85 through 87, talking about how Rick was saying, they're making me do this. They're making me testify against Rick Stone, against Roger Stone, but they're not going to let me tell the whole truth. They're going to force me to say what they want me to say, or they're going to take my deal away. After they'd made a deal with him, by the way, after they had made a plea deal with him, and they forced him to turn on Manafort, quote unquote, they then pulled the deal off the table and said, no, you're going to do this. And not only that, but we're going to own you for the next 3 years, which is why he can't come out and say anything. We're going to own you for the next 3 years, and you're going to help us in prosecutions for the next 3 years. So he's caught between, a rock and a hard place. But I'm sure that given the opportunity to come to a new trial and actually give the full testimony, which is to say he never heard Roger Stone tell the president that he was in contact with WikiLeaks, and they all knew that Roger Stone wasn't in contact with WikiLeaks. He was getting his information from Julian Assange, standing on the balcony telling the whole world, I'm going to release more documents.
Well, the nature of a new trial is a separate subject, and to my knowledge, the potential activities of Gates are not a subject of the motion for a new trial, but rather juror misconduct. Is that
sure?
And
I think which absolutely, and then you compound that with the possibility that probability that prosecution, as Sidney Powell outlines in her book License to Lie, right? And Weissman, we know, has a history of that. All right, we are out of time. David Shestokas has been my guest. David, thank you so very much for taking time at the courthouse, coming on and being with us today. We greatly appreciate it. We are going to turn now. We got, I believe, some other items I'm going to cover in the next segment with you. And then we'll be bringing on Jason Van Camp at the top of the next hour. Back with more. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation radio show. In July of 2017, I was in a catastrophic car accident, and I broke my neck, the base of my skull, my back, my ribs, and both legs. As you might imagine, getting a good night's sleep has been a real challenge. Well, then at CPAC in 2019, I met Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Mike wanted to help me to get a good night's rest and introduced me to his pillows, his mattress topper, and his Giza cotton sheets. I can tell you they really work. And Mike has authorized me to offer you a special discount on MyPillow products. Call 800-662-9236. That's 800-662-9236. One more time, 800-662-9236. Use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. Or you can use it at the MyPillow website.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
In today's day and age, it's refreshing to find a company with values that match yours. And it's even more extraordinary when the products they make exceed your expectation in every way. That's what Michael's Naturopathic Programs has done for over 30 years. With more than 50 tried and truthful high-potency formulas, Michael's Naturopathic Programs give your body what it needs. No more guessing what herbs or vitamin, amino acid, or mineral you need. With Michael's, it's all in one bottle. From cardiovascular support to weight management to nervous system support to detox and cleansing and more. Michael's Naturopathic Programs work. They have to. Michael himself has been giving them to his family from the very start. Visit michaelshealth.com and get your tried and truthful formulation today. That's MICHAELS health.com. MICHAELS health.com.
Get a special discount when you input the code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg for your special discount. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation radio show. In July of 2017, I was in a catastrophic car accident, and I broke my neck, the base of my skull, my back, my ribs, and both legs. As you might imagine, getting a good night's sleep has been a real challenge. Well, then at CPAC in 2019, I met Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Mike wanted to help me to get a good night's rest and introduced me to his pillows, his mattress topper, and his Giza cotton sheets. I can tell you they really work. And Mike has authorized me to offer you a special discount on MyPillow products. Call 800-662-9236. That's 800-662-9236. One more time, 800-662-9236. Use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. Or you can use it at the MyPillow website.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Look, I am for marriage between a man and a woman. I am for life from conception. I am for following the Bible, and I believe that our founders started this nation on biblical principles. I am in support of our military and believe that America should play a role in world security. I believe our Constitution was intended for a moral people and that the Bible contains the only true moral code. I believe we are all born sinners and that God in His grace and mercy sent His Son Jesus Christ to die for our sins, and that if we will confess our sins, He is just and righteous to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. I believe salvation is not just accomplished in a little prayer, but that it is found in how that transformation is lived out. Jesus is to be the Lord of our lives, and we should follow biblical precepts. This is not legalism or works, but a life lived out in love and honor towards the one who died for my sins. Faith without works is dead and is no faith at all. I believe that we will fall and that we need to have a repentant heart, and that God will ultimately bring us into perfect action through Jesus Christ. Spirit man perfected and soulish man in progress. I believe that we are not to live in guilt and shame when we fall, but we repent and get up and move closer to Jesus. I believe that if our nation will repent and turn from wickedness, that God will heal our land. I believe that as a Christian, I must occupy till He comes, and that to call evil wicked and to warn about those evil acts is a part of the mandated Christianity. That to love also means to be willing to take the risk necessary to confront a friend with the truth in hopes that their heart will be turned because their life matters, even if it means, in that moment, they will possibly hate me. It means that I must risk scorn to stand for truth, and that I can never sit silently by while evil attempts to conquer the world. God is my everything, and Jesus is the love of my life. That does not make me weak, but strong, not silent, but bold, and not fearful, but courageous. Therefore, if you are my friend, while we may not fully agree, know that I share what I share because I care. If you strongly disagree with these beliefs, they are not debatable for me, and you can, if you choose, unfriend me. I do not say this in anger, but in love. I wish for you eyes to see and ears to hear that Jesus Christ is the only way to salvation, and that God, not man, gets to decide what is truth, life, and the way. God bless you.
to Chosen Generation with your host, Pastor Greg.
Pastor Greg.
And don't forget, you can get more Chosen Generation at PastorGregYoung.org.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio. Let's see. Let's take a quick look ahead, a little forward in time. Tomorrow on the program. Oh, man, really excited about tomorrow. It's going to be very, very, very cool. Pastor Jansen Franklin, spiritual advisor to President Trump, is going to be with us tomorrow. Finding diamonds right where you are. How do you deal with whatever circumstance you're in, and how's God turn your circumstance into a diamond? That's cool. You know what? You are the diamond. There you go. I just want you to know that. I'm serious now. I'm serious. Somebody out there needs to hear this. Somebody out there needs to know. You're the diamond. You really, truly are the diamond. You are the apple of your Father's eye, and you are the diamond. And it doesn't have anything to do with what you do, the efforts you make, what you're trying to accomplish, all of that. If you were placed in a void, picture that for a minute. If you were placed in a void, you would have as much value to your Heavenly Father as you do in the whirlwind in which you live. Because He finds value in you. It's why He created you. He made you fearfully and wonderfully. He made you. Just somebody needs to know you're valuable. Valuable. All right. Burgess Owens, congressional candidate in Utah, joins us tomorrow on the program. Dr. Tom Barrett will talk with us about investment-grade gold. Rick Manning is back with us tomorrow. And at this point, I think we're going to be talking about a corporate injustice that's taking place, a long-term lawsuit that is, it's just not right. We'll be, okay, I heard that music go for a second, and it sounded like it was the end music. I don't know why. It went, dun-dun-dun-dun, and I thought, well, that was really fast. At any rate, we are about out of time. We're going to be taking a break. We'll be back with more Chosen Generation Radio right after this brief break. And we'll be joining on the other side. Jason Van Camp joins us. And we'll talk about, how do you handle?
When thinking about life insurance, my accident reinforced you never know what tomorrow might bring. That's why I reached out to AccuQuote. AccuQuote helps people find a life insurance policy that meets their needs. Since 1986, they've helped millions of folks save up to 60% on their life insurance by comparing the rates and features of dozens of top-rated life insurance products. A healthy 50-year-old non-smoker can buy $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $45 a month. A 60-year-old under $120 a month. Longer or permanent terms are available. Even if you already own life insurance, you really need to check out my friends at AccuQuote. Don't worry about health issues. Remember, they help me. As the pastor, I'm concerned about your soul and helping you to make sure your family is taken care of. Life insurance is more affordable now than ever, so don't make them wish you'd made that call. 877-437-4781. Call now, 877-437-4781. 877-437-4781.
Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
One day after being released from a prison in Colorado, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is slamming prosecutors who brought the case against.
The Times, a daily news podcast from the Los Angeles Times, gives you the world through the eyes of the West Coast. Through interviews and original stories, The Times is a podcast you need to understand the world and how California shapes it. Because if an issue that's in California isn't in your town yet, it will be soon. New episodes of The Times are available every weekday. To find it, go wherever you get your podcasts and search for The Times, daily news from the LA Times. Gracias.
Could you be the one who writes the code that makes a vehicle move by itself? Who designs a feature that makes vehicles safer? who organizes teams so that they can do their best work, who creates a culture that people can thrive in, who makes transportation smarter, cleaner, and safer? Go to ZOOX.com/careers and see if you could.
It's Tim.
From beginning to end, this was persecution masquerading as prosecution.
Blagojevich, speaking outside his Chicago home, also says that the criminal justice system is broken.
I hope now, looking to the future, that I can draw from my life experience and do something to try to fight to help people who've been wrongfully incarcerated or those who have been over-sentenced.
Today is the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, and Vice President Mike Pence marked the occasion by going to the Marine Corps War Memorial and laying a wreath. And only 2 days after suffering what looked to be a very serious crash at the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman has been treated and released from a Florida hospital. You're listening to USA Radio News.
At the American Veterinary Medical Association annual convention in Washington, D.C., I spoke with Dr. John Howe, AVMA president, about One Health.
One Health is really a collaboration between physicians and veterinarians or public health officials. For example, in Minnesota, our state public health veterinarian deals with zoonotic diseases, rabies, for example. Animals are sentinels for humans, and humans are sentinels for some infections in animals.
There's more valuable information at avma.org.
Friends and family, did you have a great night's sleep last night? I did. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I work better than I ever have. And you know what? You can have that health. You can have that good night's sleep if you order a MyPillow. Try it. Mike Lindell guarantees it. He's got a 60-day money-back guarantee on the MyPillow and a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special, use my promo code USA or call 1-800-951-8175.
A now former candidate for the 2020 Democratic White House nomination has landed a media gig. Here's USA Radio Network's Chris Barnes.
Businessman and former candidate Andrew Yang is joining CNN as a political commentator. The 45-year-old recently dropping out of the race after poor showings in the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. He qualified for most of the Democratic debates and calls his followers the Yang Gang. He also proposed a universal basic income package that would have given every American $1,000 a month. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
The IRS is planning to do more face-to-face visits with high-earning taxpayers who haven't filed a return. The agency announced on Wednesday will look at about 800 cases in its initial phase of people who make more than $100,000. The announcement came after the agency added more people to its enforcement staff. This is USA Radio News.
With a recession ending, if you've been putting off building your business, now is the time to act. General Steel will meet or beat any price on a pre-engineered steel building of the same size and specifications. Act now, before steel prices go up. So call us today for free information.
Call 800-965-1290. 800-965-1290, 800-965-1290.
Illegal immigrants in Cambridge, Massachusetts won't be arrested for driving without a license thanks to a new law. Under the law passed by the city, police officers are advised not to arrest illegal immigrants found driving without a license. Instead, they're told to issue the driver's summons. Cambridge, which is home to Harvard and MIT, became a sanctuary city back in 1985. In entertainment news, a tribute to the rock band Rush is making its way across the country. With the details, here's USA Radio Network's Wendy King.
Primus will be honoring Canadian rock band Rush with a special cover tour in 2020. The group shared plans Tuesday for A Tribute to Kings, a new North American tour that will feature Primus performing Rush's 1977 album, A Farewell to Kings. The band will also perform its own music. Primus vocalist bassist Les Claypool said, A Farewell to Kings was the first Rush record he ever heard and features his favorite Rush song, Cygnus X1. Primus and Rush have crossed paths several times over the years, including when Primus opened for them on a tour in 1992. The Tribute to Kings tour begins May 26th in Irving, Texas, and ends August 2nd in Phoenix, Arizona.
Take us with you wherever you go by downloading the iHeartRadio app and searching for USA Radio News. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
Thank you for tuning into Chosen Generation. Chosen Generation is about equipping, encouraging, and challenging this generation to engage culture and to fulfill God's plan and purpose for our city, county, state, and nation to be the Christian influence and light that we have been called to be. Pastor Greg is committed to seeing God's life-changing power work in you. If you need prayer today or have a question, you can reach us at 830-446-3624. 830-446-3624. If your church or group would like to have Pastor Greg come and share his passion to raise up a chosen generation, he is available to bring that same life-changing message and anointing to your event. Again, that number is 830-446-3624. 830-446-3624. Give us a call and keep on listening because you are God's chosen generation. Welcome to Chosen Generation with your host, Pastor Greg Young. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should shew forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
And now, Chosen Generation, where no topic is off limits and everything is filtered through biblical glasses. And now, here's your host, Pastor Greg.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio. I'm your host, Pastor Greg. Thank you so much for being here. Hour number 2. And man, oh man, oh man, am I glad and grateful and thankful to you for listening to the program today. I sincerely... Without you, this doesn't mean anything. And everything that I do in this program, all that I do, the guests we bring on, the conversations that we have, are for you, And I hope that you are blessed and encouraged by them, but educated and informed by them, and then feel ready to take an action based on the things that you hear. So anyway, thank you for that. Thanks. For those of you that are retweeting the program today, we got a lot of people doing some retweets on the show today on Twitter. So I want to thank those. First Class Ride New Jersey retweeted us today. Frozen Fran, Matthew, text Trump to 88022, and Sonia, Trump 2020. Just a few of the people that have retweeted our program today. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. Also appreciate those that are watching us on Facebook, whether you're watching on my personal page, which, hey, you know what? Guess what? We're able to be back live. So, Facebook had frozen me out for a minute, but we're back live. Great to be back with you on my personal page. Also on the Chosen Generation Radio page, and on Impeach Democrats on that page as well. And that's because as a Christian, as a minister, and so on, I'm sorry, but I can't support a party that's down with infanticide, euthanasia, and sodomy as a path to happiness. Just not down with that, folks. All right. Hey, really excited to welcome my next guest to the program. He is a decorated veteran. He went to West Point. He completed his Army Ranger training and Special Forces training, was a leader amongst the Special Forces, and used that as a means to develop the program that we're going to talk about today. He received 3 Bronze Stars and 1 V Device for Valor, served in the Middle East and Africa as Detachment Commander of the 10th Special Forces Group. And it is my honor to welcome to the program Jason Van Camp. Jason, thank you again for your service, sir, and it is a pleasure to welcome you.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be on your show. Thank you for having me. and it's a wonderful introduction. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you, man. This book, Deliberate Discomfort, Operations Comfortable, Uncomfortable. What a tremendous title. And I know you work with, we talked briefly before the Super Bowl, and I wanted to bring you back on to talk, I told you I was going to do this, to talk a little bit more about what you do. But talk to me about what led you to develop this particular approach.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we focused, my business, Mission 60, we focused on leadership development. And there's all sorts of different approaches that you can take. Now, I was approached by Inc. magazine a few years ago to write some articles with a gentleman named Chris Desi. And together, we wrote, I think, 5 articles based on a number of different themes. And one of the themes was getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And looking at the numbers from that article, we realized that we had 3 million views on that one. And the next highest article view was 1 million. And
wow.
We said, wow, getting comfortable being uncomfortable is a topic that really resonates with folks. People really want to hear about it. People really want to know about it. So we pivoted slightly at my company, Mission 60, to specifically offering training on getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and we call that the deliberate discomfort mindset.
So give me a couple. I mean, as the music was playing to start this, I thought, well, I think about President Trump. I mean, here's a guy that was a businessman that's now in a political environment, certainly not, business and politics, quite frankly, folks, are not the same animal. Some people may think there's some similarity, but they're really not. They're not the same animal. As a business person, there are certain rules that you follow. When the boss takes over, you follow the orders of the boss. There's a business etiquette that goes with that. You're not always, in politics, man. It's a whole nother ball game. And I think about your book, getting comfortable in an uncomfortable position. Our president certainly is learning how to do that.
He is. You said it. Business is not politics. He's a businessman. He excels at it. He's a billionaire, right?
Yep.
But the thing about Trump is his self-confidence is through the roof. So when he's in an uncomfortable position, like it almost seems, at least from the casual observer from our standpoint, that he doesn't care. There isn't really a whole lot of uncomfortable positions that you could put him in that he would feel fearful of, especially looking at what he did today. He pardoned all these white-collar criminals that were in jail. He did it himself. Is that something he's familiar with or he's comfortable with? No, but he took that uncomfortable leap of faith to do it because he's so confident in himself.
Sure. Well, and then flipping the script on that, right? He's used his Twitter account and his punch counterpunch, approach to make the media uncomfortable.
Listen, if there was a PhD for that skill set, he would have it, and he would be teaching that class at West Point or Harvard University or Stanford, because if there's somebody who excels at flipping the script on the media, it's our president.
Yeah, again, the book, folks, Deliberate Discomfort, How U.S. Special Operations Forces Overcome Fear and Dare to Win by Getting Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. And I just thought those were a couple of examples that I think a lot of people, that are listening might be able to relate to. But give me a couple of other examples as you were putting the book together of those kinds of case scenarios.
Yeah, Pastor Greg, it could be anything, really. It isn't just about going into combat and fighting, an enemy, hand to hand or from a distance, or having bullets fired at you, or driving down the road, with the knowledge that there were probably IEDs, roadside bombs somewhere, close to your vicinity. It's about, speaking in public. It's about playing in the big game. It's about starting your own business. It's about quitting your job that is a dead-end job and you don't want to be in. It's even about, getting out of that abusive relationship that you're in. It's not about these epic experiences necessarily. It could be about, the lower-level mundane things. It's about facing your unknown, whatever that might be, facing your fear, and standing up for yourself and saying, you know what, I'm no longer satisfied with the way that things are. I'm not going to tolerate it any longer. I'm ready to change. I'm ready for growth. I'm ready to accept and embrace suffering because I want a better life for myself, for my family, and even for your business.
Sure, absolutely. All right, I want to ask you this because I do think it's an interesting question. Okay. A lot of people look at special forces and elite soldiers. Well, let me put it this way: the patriotic people, the people who understand what you guys are about and defending our country and our way of life. But when a lot of folks look at you, there are some misconceptions. What are the biggest misconceptions that you think that the public has about soldiers like yourself that are trained for these special operations?
That's an interesting question. What are the biggest misconceptions that people have about special operations forces guys? Well, I would say maybe from a civilian standpoint, you think that these guys are all, over 6 foot tall and, bodybuilder type guys. Now, I would say no. These are guys from all shapes and sizes all over the country, from different backgrounds, different aspirations, and they all have that internal quality when they succeed. It's that grit. It's that mental toughness, that mental fortitude. It's that deliberate discomfort mindset. And you'd be surprised about the guys that show up and you think, oh, clearly this guy's going to make it. And then you realize, a few weeks later that this guy quit, and you wonder why. And some of the guys that you thought had no chance at all to go through the training and graduate are the guys that are perhaps, the most elite of the operators, And when you think about it like that, you look at yourself and you say, hey, listen, I can do this too. If this guy, from his background and from the experiences that he's gone through in life, he's gone and he's turned this negative reinforcement, this negative energy, this haterade into fuel to drive him to succeed, to become a special operator. And I want to make sure that people understand that when these guys get out, they aren't looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. They want to continue to serve and to help and to inspire. And so if you're looking to hire a veteran, hey, listen, they're going to be the hardest, best workers that you got. You just have to communicate and listen to them. A lot of times guys in our community are hired, and people are terrified of them. They're like, oh, my gosh, is this guy Rambo? Is this guy going to start a shooting spree in the office? Is he going to start telling us his war stories? It's like, no, he's not. Give him a chance to talk and to inspire.
Absolutely. All right, we are going to be taking a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Jason's going to be back with us on the other side of this break, and we'll talk, some more about areas where this, idea of learning how to overcome fear, to dare to win in the most uncomfortable kinds of situations, can actually be the place where breakthrough happens in your life, where up until now that always was a place of stagnation, but no longer. And we'll talk to you about that coming up here on Chosen Generation Radio. Get more again at the website, chosengenerationradio.com. I'm your host, Pastor Greg, back with Jason Van Camp right after this. Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. In July of 2017, I was in a catastrophic car accident, and I broke my neck, the base of my skull, my back, my ribs, and both legs. As you might imagine, getting a good night's sleep has been a real challenge. Well, then at CPAC in 2019, I met Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Mike wanted to help me to get a good night's rest and introduced me to his pillows, his mattress topper, and his Giza cotton sheets. I can tell you they really work. And Mike has authorized me to offer you a special discount on MyPillow products. Call 800-662-9236. That's 800-662-9236. One more time, 800-662-9236. Use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. Or you can use it at the MyPillow website.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values, and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical Christian American constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930, and use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg, and get your first year on me.
Want to start feeling lighter and more energized? Begin a 14-day detox and cleansing program with Ultimate Detox and Cleanse from Michael's Naturopathic Programs. Toxins build up in our system, and sometimes our body needs help supporting the natural cleansing process. The healthy nutrients in Ultimate Detox and Cleanse provide nutritional support for colon cleansing, blood detoxing, liver cleansing, and fat metabolizing, all in a comprehensive 14-day program. Juicing can be time-consuming and expensive. Easy on you and your wallet, Ultimate Detox and Cleanse could be just what your body needs. Every product from Michael's Naturopathic Programs is backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So try Ultimate Detox and Cleanse today. Michael's Naturopathic Programs, the tried and truthful brand of nutritional supplements, is available online at michaelshealth.com. Michael's Naturopathic Programs. Feel better on the inside. Look better on the outside.
Get a special discount when you input the code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg for your special discount. When thinking about life insurance, my accident reinforced you never know what tomorrow might bring. That's why I reached out to AccuQuote. AccuQuote helps people find a life insurance policy that meets their needs. Since 1986, they've helped millions of folks save up to 60% on their life insurance by comparing the rates and features of dozens of top-rated life insurance products. A healthy 50-year-old non-smoker can buy $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $45 a month. A 60-year-old under $120 a month. Longer or permanent terms are available. Even if you already own life insurance, you really need to check out my friends at AccuQuote. Don't worry about health issues. Remember, they help me. As a pastor, I'm concerned about your soul and helping you to make sure your family is taken care of. Life insurance is more affordable now than ever, so don't make them wish you'd made that call. 877-437-4781. Call now, 877-437-4781. 877-437-4781.
Bates Policy Form.
Did you know you can do your tithing and love offering right from your computer? Visit www.pastorgregyoung.org to support Chosen Generation and make a tax-deductible donation. Now, back to Chosen Generation with Pastor Greg.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio. I'm your host, Pastor Greg. It's so good to have you. Bottom of the hour, Emery McClendon, Tea Party legend, really, and Project 21 Black Leadership Network. Also, we'll have him on the program, and we'll talk about President Trump, and we'll talk a bit about some of the good and great things that he's done. And Emery wants to share some things relative to that, in particular in the black community. All right, Jason Van Camp, author, Deliberate Discomfort. is with me, joining me now. And it is, again, Deliberate Discomfort, How U.S. Special Operations Forces Overcome Fear and Dare to Win by Getting Comfortable Being Uncomfortable, by Jason Van Camp and Andy Simons. And encourage you to pick up that book. You can get it at Amazon. Again, Deliberate Discomfort. You were in the Middle East. You were a part of Mission 60, a very elite military team deployed with the Navy SEALs, Delta Force. You are a Medal of Honor recipient. Plus, you have PhD in science and research. So you're a very unique individual, Jason. Would that be a good way to describe you?
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm a pretty unique,
I know, and when I say unique, I mean that with the utmost respect and kind of shock and awe factor.
Well, I appreciate that, and if you were to say it in jest, I would appreciate that too. So there's no problem. But you're correct.
We're all unique, aren't we, Jason?
What's that?
I say we're all unique, aren't we?
Oh, we are. We should embrace that and celebrate.
Amen.
There's no doubt about
well,
that.
that's part of your book, right? That's part of the discomfort. We're unique. All right, I want to let's go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say you're right about my Mission 60 team. On my team, and it's not a military or government affiliated organization. It's a leadership company, and you're right. We have Medal of Honor recipients, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Delta Force guys, Rangers, Marines, amputees, and we have scientists, PhDs as well. And that's how we differentiate ourselves from our competitors, and that's how we add value to people and clients.
Nice. All right, we don't have a lot of time, so we got to get in. I want to get this in. You were in the Middle East, obviously. Blood on the ground. Friends, that gave their all over there. I don't want to get into your missions, but that being said, you're watching what's happened. Soleimani, I call him General Salami. I told you, military strike, not an assassination. That's my opinion. And al-Baghdadi. Lots of holes now over there. What do you see happening in the Middle East?
Well, I'll tell you what. It feels to me like neither we nor Iran has the stomach for prolonged open conflict right now. We just don't have the energy as a country for the prolonged rebuilding effort in the Middle East. We've been doing that for 20 years. However, we can't tolerate some of these actions, some of the things that are going on right now. And Iran's actions lately were surprising to me because as a U.S. Army Special Forces commander in Iraq, we never fought with Iran. However, we fought numerous battles with, not so allegedly Iranian-backed militia forces.
Right, their forces.
For numerous political reasons, we frustratingly tolerated this behavior. And so President Trump, made that bold move to eliminate General Soleimani. It was unprecedented. It shocked me. It shocked all of us. And after the feeling of surprise subsided, I asked myself, now what? What's next?
Yep.
What are we
all
going to
right.
do now?
We're at the end of our time together. Jason, we're going to get you back.
This is Adam Mundahl with State Air, and we are sponsors of Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Sponsoring this program has been a real blessing to our business, and I want to encourage you to join me in sponsoring Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Call him today at 830-446-3624. Once again, that's 830-446-3624. I know your business will be blessed as ours is, and I challenge you to this blessing. Thank you.
The healthcare open enrollment period has ended. Did you miss it? Don't worry, you can still get a healthcare program by signing up at Liberty HealthShare. As a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, we are not insurance. so you can still sign up. You can pick your program, choose your own doctors and hospitals. We have programs for singles, couples, and families, all with no contract, starting at only $199 per month. Go to libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
One day after being released from a prison in Colorado, former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is slamming prosecutors who brought the case against him.
From beginning to end, this was...
You're the kind of person who makes a difference at work. So why not work on something that makes a difference? At Zooks, we're looking for collaborative, inquisitive people who can help us achieve our mission. Safer, cleaner, more enjoyable mobility for everyone. Come build the future at Zooks. Find out more at ZOOX.com/careers.
Step into the future of pro sports and cannabis at NCIA's 7th Annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, December 15th through the 17th, 2021 at Moscone Center in San Francisco. Join star athletes Marvin Washington, Rachel Rapinoe, Anna Simmons, Jim McAlpine, and more for exclusive talks on the dynamic, controversial role of cannabis in professional sports at #CannaBizSummit, the most influential event in the industry. Get your tickets today for #CannaBizSummit and experience over 125 top presenters, 80-plus business building education sessions, and hundreds of exhibitors. December 15th through the 17th in San Francisco. Tickets at CannabisBusinessSummit.com. That's CannabisBusinessSummit.com. Must be 21 plus to attend.
Persecution masquerading as prosecution.
Blagojevich, speaking outside his Chicago home, also says that the criminal justice system is broken.
I hope now, looking to the future, that I can draw from my life experience and do something to try to fight to help people who've been wrongfully incarcerated or those who have been over-sentenced.
Today is the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Iwo Jima, and Vice President Mike Pence marked the occasion by going to the Marine Corps War Memorial and laying a wreath. And only 2 days after suffering what looked to be a very serious crash at the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman has been treated and released from a Florida hospital. You're listening to USA Radio News.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 immediately. That's 800-605-6995. Page Publishing is looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review each and every book submitted to them and give you their feedback. If they like what they read, they'll get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. They handle everything: editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So if you've written a novel, children's book, cookbook, inspirational work, poetry, or a biography and want to get it published, then you need to call Page Publishing and do it immediately. Call 800-605-6995 now for your free author submission kit. Again, for your free author submission kit, call 800-605-6995. That's 800-605-6995. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call. Call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 for your free author submission kit.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation radio show. In July of 2017, I was in a catastrophic car accident, and I broke my neck, the base of my skull, my back, my ribs, and both legs. As you might imagine, getting a good night's sleep has been a real challenge. Well, then at CPAC in 2019, I met Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Mike wanted to help me to get a good night's rest and introduced me to his pillows, his mattress topper, and his Giza cotton sheets. I can tell you they really work. And Mike has authorized me to offer you a special discount on MyPillow products. Call 800-662-9236. That's 800-662-9236. One more time, 800-662-9236. Use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. Or you can use it at the MyPillow website.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation radio show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical, Christian, American, constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930. And use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg. And get your first year on me.
Did you know you can do your tithing and love offering right from your computer? Visit www.pastorgregyoung.org to support Chosen Generation and make a tax-deductible donation. Now, back to Chosen Generation with Pastor Greg.
And welcome to the program. It's great to be with you. Thanks again for tuning in. I know you have a choice on where you can listen, and I so sincerely appreciate you tuning in here to Chosen Generation Radio. You can get more at the website, chosengenerationradio.com. chosengenerationradio.com. If you're down in Texas at the end of February, maybe you're planning a trip, or maybe you're thinking about planning a trip. I got a great weekend getaway surprise for you if you're interested in coming down. Remember the Alamo. Remember the Alamo. First time ever it's been put to music, folks. First time ever. It is a true musical history of the Texas Republic, and you got to remember that Texas is the only state in the Union that was its own independent republic before it joined the Union. The only one. It's unique to Texas. So come on down and remember the Alamo, and it's a one-day event, 29th of February. 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are the show times. I encourage you to make that habit. And don't forget to join us, too, on Tuesdays. We pray for America every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. The phone number and the login, the code are up on my website at chosengenerationradio.com. We had a powerful time of prayer yesterday for our country, for our president. It is sponsored by Deanna Lorraine, and just really encourage you to join us for that. All right, let me get to my guest because I'm really excited to have him. He truly is a Tea Party legend. He received an award there in Indiana for his efforts in organizing Tea Party, and he is also a part of the Project 21 Black Leadership Network. It is my sincere honor and pleasure to welcome Emery McClendon to the program. Emery, so good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me on again. I tell you, I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to having another good time today.
Well, I love having you on board, and man, once again, the president has been put under fire. He's granted some pardons. And the first thing out of Bernie Sanders' mouth is, well, yes, all he does is pardon a bunch of white guys. It's more of this, and it's interesting, in my opinion, that the Democrat, that the old white guys in the Democrat Party are the ones that point their fingers at President Trump and call him a racist. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, it is, because we all know, well, most of us know, especially those of us who are informed, where the real racism comes from. And we also realize that the Democrats only use the term racism or discrimination and things that are surrounded around anything that's historically racial is when it's to their benefit, when they can use it to their benefit. So by them pointing their fingers, and once again, they're trying to deflect the blame from themselves, and they're also trying to divide the country and shore up their base and shore up the people who may want to feel like voting for them. And they're trying to use all of that to their advantage and to pass it all off on the president. who they don't have a shred of evidence that he is racist, but they want to plant that seed in people's minds. You know, it's really ridiculous.
Well, and you know, when I look down the list, and I don't think that it is completely updated, because I was told that yesterday, just as an example, he pardoned, I think, was it 10 people?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the number. I just read about the big ones. You know,
right?
The Illinois one.
You know, Rod Blagojevich.
Yeah.
And Bernard Carrick. And then there was one other one that was a fairly big name.
Yeah. So anyway, and the thing that gets me too is like with the media, the mainstream media, and the big mouth Democrats out there, the ones that are pointing the fingers and trying to get people to dislike the president because they say that he's making controversial pardons. They never ever mention anything about the pardons that he's doing for the blacks and the ones that he's had, the people who he's given a chance to come out of prison under that new program that he's done under the Department of Justice, releasing the minority prisoners from jail, and the success stories that are surrounded around them and what they've done since they've been released from prison. But they make a big deal out of the big name profiles, and they say that he's just pardoning his friends. So, well, what does he do? He pardons people who's not his friends, such as Blagojevich, however you pronounce his name, out of Chicago, and then they complain about that also. Seems like they'd be jumping for joy.
You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, you think about someone like Alice Johnson. You know what a tremendous story that is. But let's also think about Jack Johnson. You know, the black world champion boxer back in the early 1900s, who was posthumously pardoned by the president back in May of 2018, and there was almost no coverage of that Emory. I mean, just almost no coverage at all. And you know, and he's been consistent in that. And for our military, which I think is something else that is, to me, as a you know, Air Force veteran, significant. You know, Clint Lawrence, Matthew Goldstein. These are guys that were specifically targeted by the Obama administration, who were trying to criminalize our service members for carrying out wartime orders.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And the military families, their families, were very disheartened when these incarcerations happen. And I'm sure that they're very happy to see and to know that the president has pardoned these people, because they really didn't do anything of a nature that was criminal, except that they carried out their duties. And you mentioned that, and it's really a shame that, you know, it doesn't really matter, as most of us on this side of the fence knows, whatever President Trump does, it can never be satisfactory to the other side, because they don't want anything that he does to flourish and to gain any votes, to gain any popularity, or to swing people over and say, let's take a second look and see if what we're really hearing about this man is really the truth or is it error. So they're going to try to muddy the waters in any way that they can so that our president can continue to look bad in the eyes of the American people. They proved that through the phony impeachment, and Nancy Pelosi herself proved it once again the night of the State of the Union, and during the acquittal. Well, State of the Union, what did she do? She tears up the speech and says it's a piece of junk. She said it deserved to be tore up. After the acquittal, she then says he's impeached for life. Well, he's acquitted for life also. Why didn't she bring that up?
Because she said he's not acquitted. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't want to forget also Michael Bahena, who is another military member. And then something, and this is, you know, to the heart of those of us in the Liberty Tea Party movement. Not to say the military isn't. I'm not saying that. But and I didn't even remember this until I pulled it up preparing for this portion today. And that is Dwight Hammond and Steve Hammond, the Oregon ranchers that were convicted in 2012 of doing controlled burns, by the way, on land that they had been operating with their families for over 100 years. But again, Obama's BLM went in there and decided that they were going to force these ranchers and their cattle off the land and mismanage it, just like they were mismanaging, most of Nevada. But the Hammonds got pardoned. Did you know that? Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I was aware of that. I followed the case, not really the whole case, but the incident as it transpired when the BLM moved in, and the people, it was all over Facebook. Of course, the Tea Party was behind them. A lot of the Tea Party members went out and stood with them, and they didn't stand a chance. They didn't, the Obama administration didn't even give them the opportunity to prove themselves innocent. They kind of shot down every argument that they had and just railroaded them right in the direction that they wanted them to go.
Yeah, I hang on a minute because I'm not remembering his name, but let's see. Oregon. Let's see if it comes up. Oh man, the rancher who was killed in that whole.
Bundy?
I'm sorry.
No, not the Bundys, right? No.
No. But he was friends with the Bundys. Oh my goodness. And it's not coming up either. At least not that I can see. I feel horrific because I actually spoke at an event with his daughter. But he was one of he was actually killed as they were driving to supposedly have a meeting to kind of try to settle the whole situation there in Oregon. He ended up getting killed. Lavoy Finicum.
Yeah, I remember the incident, but I just can't remember the name either. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to the Finicum family. I apologize. But I found it. So there we go. But Lavoy Finicum was killed. Yeah. And a very, respectful, God-focused, God-centered family man, that I've met his wife, met his daughters, met some of the family, just salt of the earth, good people. And this, of course, again, was under the whole Obama thing. But, and I guess, that brings us around, too, in my mind, to, everybody was excited about having a quote-unquote black president and how that was supposed to advance, race relations and so on and so on. And yet Emory, again, here, he you want to talk about the divider in chief, that this guy reinstituted, in my opinion, race wars.
Yes. Obama, when he first hit the scene, of course, he made that famous speech out in Germany or wherever it was. Was it France or Germany? I forgot now because it's been so long ago. But he went over and had that large crowd. He started it then, degrading America, talking about, different things and what wasn't right in America, of course, of being on foreign soil. Then in Chicago, in Grant Park, when he said we're so many days away from fundamentally changing America, everybody had their hopes up, those who voted for him and some of the people who were tricked by his finesse, that things were going to get better. And then the first thing out of the chute was one of his little buddies who was coming home from vacation, was trying to get into his own house. He gets locked out because he either lost his keys or forgot his keys or something happened. And the first words out of Obama's mouth was that the cops acted stupidly. And he pointed out, of course, that it was a race relations problem. And that started the snowball rolling downhill, and incident after incident after incident in the Obama administration kept adding up to more racism until we started having problems with the Black Lives Matters. We started having problems with the youth on the street. Every time one of them got shot or did something wrong, they blamed it on the police officers, and then he joined the bandwagon. And it just kept rolling downhill, and he set race relations back in this country probably 25, 30, 40, 50 years.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because I feel the same way. And then, you look at Trayvon Martin and that situation, and now Joel Gilbert, the documentarian, has done an in-depth dive into that whole situation and discovered that there was prosecutorial malfeasance, and that, in fact, the woman who testified as the main witness in that trial was assuming a false identity, and certainly the prosecutors and all of them knew it. The attorney for the family definitely knew it, because he put her up for it, and they let that fly in the trial, and that's all outlined in the Trayvon hoax. Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot. And then the 5 police officers in Dallas, as you said, it just continued to just snowball. We're talking with Emery McClendon, and we're going to need to take a little break here at Chosen Generation Radio. We'll be back on the other side. Final thoughts with Emery coming up right after this brief break. Don't forget, you can get more at the website, chosengenerationradio.com, chosengenerationradio.com. We'll be back with more right after this. I'm your host, Pastor Greg. When thinking about life insurance, my accident reinforced you never know what tomorrow might bring. That's why I reached out to AccuQuote. AccuQuote helps people find a life insurance policy that meets their needs. Since 1986, they've helped millions of folks save up to 60% on their life insurance by comparing the rates and features of dozens of top-rated life insurance products. A healthy 50-year-old non-smoker can buy $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $45 a month. A 60-year-old under $120 a month. Longer or permanent terms are available. Even if you already own life insurance, you really need to check out my friends at AccuQuote. Don't worry about health issues. Remember, they help me. As a pastor, I'm concerned about your soul and helping you to make sure your family is taken care of. Life insurance is more affordable now than ever, so don't make them wish you'd made that call. 877-437-4781. Call now, 877-437-4781. 877-437-4781.
Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
The healthcare open enrollment period has ended. Did you miss it? Don't worry, you can still get a healthcare program by signing up at Liberty HealthShare. As a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, we are not insurance, so you can still sign up. You can pick your program, choose your own doctors and hospitals. We have programs for singles, couples, and families, all with no contract, starting at only $199 per month. Go to libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg. libertyhealthshare.org/Pastor Greg.
This is Adam Mundahl with State Air, and we are sponsors of Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Sponsoring this program has been a real blessing to our business, and I want to encourage you to join me in sponsoring Chosen Generation and Pastor Greg. Call him today at 830-446-3624. Once again, that's 830-446-3624. I know your business will be blessed as ours is, and I challenge you to this blessing. Thank you.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. I like discounts, and I bet you do too. If you're age 50 or older, the Association of Mature American Citizens, AMAC for short, has plenty of discounts available for their members. Airlines, hotels, restaurants, auto insurance, and help with your Medicare plans. What I like most about AMAC is they understand my values, and they're fighting for them every day. Unlike the other guys that just talk a good game, AMAC is actually holding to my biblical Christian American constitutional values. It feels good to belong to a true American organization. Why don't you join me by calling them at 855-696-7930. That's 855-696-7930. Again, the number is 855-696-7930. And use the promo code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg and get your first year on me.
Did you know you can do your tithing and love offering right from your computer? Visit www.pastorgregyoung.org to support Chosen Generation and make a tax-deductible donation. Now, back to Chosen Generation with Pastor Greg.
And welcome back to Chosen Generation Radio, where no topic is off limits. Everything filtered through biblical glasses. I'm your host, Pastor Greg. Don't forget, you can get more at the website, chosengenerationradio.com, chosengenerationradio.com. All right, my guest, Tea Party legend, Mr. Emory McClendon. He is with also Project 21, Black Leadership Network. And so let's talk, if you would, about some of the great things the president has done and why folks, should be maybe getting on board with the things that he's doing. I know you're on the Trump train.
Yes, when we look at the last 3 years, we certainly have to be impressed. Even the naysayers have to be impressed of all the good things that the president has done. First of all, he started off by traveling over to the Arab nations, getting with them, making new agreements with them, letting them know that America's there, but you also need to do your part. He went to Europe. He did the same identical thing. He had new contracts. He let them know that, hey, it's time for you to pay up. It's time for you to do your part. They're doing so, and they've got a new respect for America as an economic power, as a military power, and as they look up to our president as a man who is not to be bothered and messed with, but to be respected. Therefore, the country has to be respected. He's rebuilt up our military, given our guys a new esprit de corps so that they want to stay in the military and do the job that they've been called to do. He's replaced a lot of the bad generals and different ones that have been in leadership positions in the military, got the military beginning to fire again on all 8 cylinders, and they're ready to go out and do the job that it takes to keep America free. We look at education. He's made some promises of what he's going to do with education and getting prayer back in schools, getting the teachers to be more respected, and getting the students the things that they need and the materials that they'll need to get good educations, and that includes trade schools, and not only and not letting them get themselves involved and steered into dead-end degrees and things in these different colleges that are coming out so that they can be useful Americans and help pump not only money into our economy, but to pump knowledge into our economy, because without people knowing how to fix things, everything will remain broken. So that's what we need. We need kids that not only know how to use their brains, but also know how to use their hands. And this is what the president is doing. He's went in. He's fixing the Department of Justice. He's working with the judicial system. He's working not only with judicial, but also with the jails and the prisons to make sure that those are reformed. And then we look at one of the most important things that everybody can feel and be a part of is employment. Teenage employment, black employment, overall American employment, up by record-breaking numbers. Even those who are coming in as illegals are finding themselves being able to do the seasonal work that they came here to do. I remember a few years back we were turning people away, even for the menial jobs. So this is these are just some of the things the president's doing. He's fixing the EPA. He's doing just so many things, and we need to put these things on display as conservatives.
Absolutely. I agree. I really do agree with what you're saying. And Emory, I thank you for outlining all of those issues. I'm glad that President Trump is our president, and I'm glad to see him fight back. And I just continue to pray that God will give him wisdom as he does the job, and wisdom to our Senate and Congress as they do theirs. All right, we're out of time. Emory McClendon has been our guest. We thank him for that, and we will be back tomorrow. Don't forget, at the end of the day, you are God's chosen generation. At the end of the day, when I stand before my God, I do not want him to ask me, what did you do with the world that I sent my son to die for and redeem? How did you fight the good fight to share the good news and keep evil in check? How did you shine your light and be a beacon of truth in the darkness? Did you shrink back in fear when they demanded you change my message? Did you call evil good and good evil? Did you forsake my love for that of another, lying with the adulterer and setting up a new idol in your life? Have you defiled yourself through compromise and tolerance of that which I call an abomination? Have you innocent blood on your hands for the children murdered on your watch and the young ones perverted in their way by evil men, seeking their own comfort and reviling me? No. At the end of the day, I want him to simply say, the evidence is in. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. I love my God, and I love his creation, and I will go to my grave telling the world that evil is evil, and only God is good, and Jesus came to save the world. That no matter the evil in the world, I will never give up, and in spite of the hate, I will love in truth. God bless you all, and may love remove the veil, so you all might enter into his rest.
Our prime responsibility is protecting our families, but we also need to protect our families' assets. For years, I've studied economics in the Bible and as a financial professional. I'm Dr. Tom Barrett. I found gold to be the best way to protect assets from a government gone wild. Gold is ridiculed by leftist elites who say it's old-fashioned and not suitable for financial planning. But gold is anything but outdated. Smart families use it as part of their retirement plans. Gold has been the only universally recognized money since the beginning of time. Precious metals are the only money in the Bible, and they're the only constitutional money. Your paper money is just government IOUs backed by nothing. No paper money has ever survived. They crash on average in 27 years. The dollar will not be the first to defy this law of economics. Learn more at investmentgradegold.com. That's investmentgradegold.com for your free 10-10-10 financial survival plan.
Hi, this is Pastor Greg, host of the Chosen Generation radio show, reminding you that we have a 2-hour program Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Central, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern, with great interviews on topics that impact you. Our goal is to return our country to a biblically based constitutional republic as envisioned by our founding fathers and what made our nation the greatest in the world for over 150 years. You are a part of that vision, so please join us at ChosenGenerationRadio.com, ChosenGenerationRadio.com, and sign up for our emails today.
Could you solve problems no one has ever solved before? Collaborate with some of the best minds in the industry? Could you play a role in making cities safer? Help build a vehicle from the ground up? Make transportation more sustainable? And have a great time doing it? At Zoox, you could. Go to ZOOX.com/careers.
Don't miss NCIA's 7th Annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, the industry's most influential national trade show. Join them December 15th through the 17th, 2021 at Moscone Center in San Francisco for the only cannabis industry event with over 125 top presenters, 80-plus business building education sessions, and hundreds of exhibitors, all under one roof. Discover next year's best-selling cannabis brands and learn from the best in the business at #CannabisSummit this December 15th through 17th in San Francisco. Plus, see, touch, and smell products from dozens of brands specializing in flower, pre-roll, vapor, oil, edibles, and more within the new Bloom, a brand's experience on the expo floor. Tickets at CannabisBusinessSummit.com. That's CannabisBusinessSummit.com. Must be 21 plus to attend.